If you've ever thought to yourself, what's the best niche possible for SMMA or for my digital marketing agency? If you're considering or second guessing the niche that you're already in, or maybe you're thinking about expanding into other niches, I've got you covered because today I'm going to show you how to pick the most perfect and profitable niche. And I assure you, it's probably not something you've heard before. There's going to be a little bit of counterintuitive advice here, but I promise all of it is backed off over a decade of my experience running multiple seven-figure marketing agencies, helping hundreds of clients and students do the same. So with that said, well, we got a lot to cover. So I think we dive right in. So as promised, here is how to choose the perfect niche for your agency. We're going to talk about the secrets to choosing a 6 or 7-figure niche and how you're going to be able to apply all of this to your agency right away. Now, one of the, if not the most important elements to your success is getting to know your niche better than they know themselves. There's a great quote that I absolutely love and live and die by that is, customers don't buy when they understand, they buy when they feel understood. This is why it's so incredibly important that we pick the right niche, and you pick the right niche for you, because there is no universal one-size-fits-all niche that's going to be perfect for everyone in all situations. In fact, if there was, it would immediately become an unsuccessful niche because everybody would just flood there. It would become ridiculously competitive and oversaturated. So let's talk about how to choose the best niche. First of all, we've got to go over some of the basics, which is that you really can't do all the things for all the people. If you've got an agency right now and you've been stuck or stalled at 1, 2, maybe 3 clients, unable to hit through and hit those consistent 10K, 20K, 50K months you see other people doing, it's often because you're spreading yourself just way too thin. You're either working with all kinds of different clients in different industries, you're trying to offer all kinds of different services, you're doing Facebook ads and maybe some SEO and some random lead gen stuff. You got a bit of SaaS thrown in there just for fun, maybe some web design, and it's basically making it impossible to scale. It's completely overwhelming, and it's stopping you from getting good results for the people that you most want to serve. Great quote. The riches are in the niches. We say niche here, but that's okay. The riches are in the niches doesn't work. So there really is money to be made by niching down. And I've basically yet to see a niche that's too small to make at least $1 million with. There's some crazy examples of just incredibly obscure random niches, but there's still pockets of people in there, clients, customers, businesses who are running them successfully and profitably, and you're able to go in there and help them grow their businesses. Often, the most boring niches are the most profitable ones as they attract the least attention from other marketers. This is the reason that we're going to talk about this in just a minute about what I call pretty niches. But essentially, if something is incredibly attractive or sexy looking or fun, you're going to see a lot of marketers move into that space, which is not good. Because if your goal is to just go out there and have as much fun as possible, then sure, yeah, do whatever you want. But if your goal is to make as much money as possible, then you need to be selective and strategic about the niche that you choose. We're doing this to, yes, build a life and a business and provide freedom and time and location freedom and all of that control that we're all after. But this is work, and we need to treat it as such. It's not some random hobby that we're just hoping to do and magically it'll pay off, because it doesn't work that way. All right, so what is the power of niche? If you're not convinced already, well, it took me 3 years to hit 100K a month in my first agency, but it took me only 30 days to do the same with the second. So for context, on the left side there, well, that's no niche. That's me struggling away for 3 years, month after month after month, ups and downs and doing okay, and then not the next, and then overwhelmed and exhausted. And then there's me on the right side, 1 month to hit that same level of success. And the biggest thing that changed was nailing my niche, was going over the things that I'm sharing with you here today. That is the difference between millions and millions of dollars, between a life of freedom and complete control over your location and what you do and how you spend your time, and basically being a slave to your agency and constantly having to reinvent the wheel and serve complete pain in the neck clients. So let's get this solved. Niche facts, 3 things that you got to know before we dive into the specifics. Number 1, the hardest niche is the one that you just started. Everybody always asks, what's the easiest niche? What's the hardest niche? What's the fastest niche? The most profitable niche? The most fun niche? The fact is, the hardest one is the one that you just started. And the reason is, if we go all the way back to that slide that said, the most important thing you can do is really understand your customers and your clients, like really get into their heads and figure out like what are their pains and their problems and their fears and their frustrations. What are their goals and their dreams and their desires, their aspirations, their motivations, their desired end states? The better that you understand that, the better that all of your marketing is going to do, the easier all of your marketing is going to be, because no longer are you going to need to do all of the things, because you're going to realize that your niche probably only cares about a very select few things. And if you're able to go in there and deliver them results faster and easier with less headache on both of your parts, they're going to love you for it. Next, easiest niche, one you've been working with for 18 to 24 months. So you want to stick with this, which point 3, the longer you stick with it, the easier it gets. Now, if you make a bad choice, let's just say you're in this niche and like 6 months into it, you ain't getting leads, things are working, you're having a pain with all of your clients, you just don't like it, you can switch. You can. You got my permission. What I don't want to see happen, though, is switching every 3 weeks, every month, every couple months. You hear about a new niche, you pivot. We call it niche swapping. And you're just like, now I'm dentist, now I'm chiropractors, now I'm doing landscaping, now I'm doing pool repair, now I'm doing solar companies, now I'm doing this. And you just keep bouncing and back and forth and back and forth. And you never get that really deep understanding of the niche and what they need. Not to mention, it's kind of like relationships, where if you've got relationship issues with one person, unless you get those fixed, you're going to just carry those forward into your future relationships. Same thing goes with the niche. If you're having problems with clients in whatever niche that you're dealing with, if you don't deal with the root cause of those issues, whether it's delivery, fulfillment, acquisition, whatever it is, like you're going to just have those exact same things with the next niche. So there is a lot of money to be made by kind of like picking one, obviously picking wisely and strategically, which is what we're talking about here today, but then sticking with it. All right. Let me walk you through the 5 niche rules that I all but guarantee are going to make your life infinitely easier and more profitable. Number 1, you got to pick a single niche, not 2, not 3. Oh man, of all of the pieces of advice that I ignored to my own peril early in my career, this was probably the biggest one. I remember sitting down with a mentor who had an agency that was significantly bigger than mine, doing multi-millions a year. And he looked at my business. He's like, Adam, you got to pick one, man. Like, this is ridiculous. I don't even care which one you pick. They're all fine. Just literally pick one. And I ignored him. I was like, nope, I can do them all. And that's why it took years to hit that millionaire status, when it should have literally just taken those 30 days of doing all of the things right and picking the niche and focusing in and doing all the things that I knew I should have done. Like I said, you can change your niche later. Doesn't have to be forever, but you got to pick with one and ideally stick with it for as long as possible. Next, don't overthink it. As much as this video is about helping you make a strategic decision about the niche that you're choosing, the fact is, I'm going to give you a list at the end of this video with some of the most proven and profitable niches that you can use, and they're all good. So if you find one that you kind of resonate with and you're like, yeah, I could see myself liking this for a while, then we can just pick that one. Again, if there was just this magical niche that everybody had unlimited success with, then everybody would go there. It would become saturated, too competitive. You wouldn't get results. It would be a bit of a disaster. Rule number 2, the more specific the niche, the better. This is because we want to be focused. Talked about this in another video on some marketing agency hacks that you can use to sort of retrain your brain and refocus your energy on the things that are most important. So I'll make sure to link that up. But we want to be specific with the niche that we're choosing, especially if it's going to be relevant to your interests and experiences. In fact, one of the biggest competitive advantages that you're going to have against all of the other marketing agencies out there is your interest and your experience. You're naturally going to be drawn to certain things, whereas other people just don't find them as interesting. So follow that. Pull on that thread of curiosity. Are you interested in alternative energy sources? Well, then cool. We can look at electric vehicles. We can look at solar. Are you interested in trades and home repair and DIY projects? Cool. Basically, any of those trades are available. Are you interested in coaching or consulting or fitness or weight loss or martial arts or yoga or whatever it is? Like, there's going to be things that you're naturally drawn to more than, say, me or any of the other marketers, and you can really double down on that to get a significant competitive edge. Next, you want to be able to do things differently, better, and the best way to do this is by really knowing and understanding your niche. I'm going to beat this point up a lot because it is that important, where one of the best things that you can do, one of the best activities you can spend your time on as a marketing agency owner is really trying to understand your niche, like reading books about them, talking to them all the time, really getting in their head. And of course, sales is largely a game of energy, belief, and commitment, and you can't fake caring. Forget this fake it till you make it stuff. It ain't happening. Like, your clients can tell when you actually care about them and their business. And you're going to be able to convert 10 times, if not 100 times more leads into clients if they pick up on the energy that you're putting out on a sales call and in a presentation and when doing an audit, that you actually genuinely care about them and their success and their business and their industry. All right, rule number 3, the niche must need what you're selling. This one is so important and yet so often overlooked, and it drives me nuts. Of all the pet peeves, this is a big one. So essentially, you can't sell something to someone that doesn't want it. So if you're trying to offer marketing services to a business that doesn't want marketing, forget it. We need to pivot. We need to find a new niche. Great example here is that when I was first getting started, I tried all kinds of different niches, and we built relatively successful, certainly not by the scale that we are today, but relatively successful agencies in all of them. But one of them was just this constant uphill battle, and that was veterinarians, people that look after pets. And I guess it was kind of a cool niche because we got to work with dogs and cats and go see the vets and talk to them about their business and all of that. But we realized very quickly that veterinarians did not need marketing. They were booked out for months in advance. They had waiting lists. They did not need more clients or patients or whatever you call dogs and cats. They didn't need any more of it. So it was like this constant battle of showing them the value that we were providing when they're like, that's great, but we don't need it. It's kind of like if you feed someone a giant meal, you give them all the food they could ever want, and they're like, by the way, here's all this more food that you can have. I'm like, yeah, I'm good, thanks. Now, on that note, a mistake a lot of new agency owners make is starting their agencies with an offer first mentality. So what this means is starting out your business and being like, yeah, I'm going to start a marketing agency and I'm going to do Facebook ads or appointment booking or SEO or anything like that, rather than focusing on the niche first and then building your service and offer around that. Reason being, if you choose a service first, like Facebook ads or SEO or whatever it is, then you try to like jam that into a niche, they may not need it. So for example, let's say that you're just like dead set on working with veterinarians. Well, they don't need Facebook ads. They probably don't need SEO. They don't need any of that. But what they might need is maybe a better CRM, maybe updated booking system for their patients. Maybe they need better referral programs or customer loyalty rewards, whatever it is. The point is you've got to start with that niche first, because then you can figure out the services to offer them rather than trying to jam, a square peg into a round hole, which sounds awful. Rule number 4, the niche must be able to afford it. Again, sounds like common sense, but you would be surprised how many new and especially struggling agency owners I see come to me with the niche that they've chosen, and they're just broke. The niche has no money. They can't afford to spend, and it wouldn't make any sense for you to do marketing for them anyway, because even if you were able to generate them leads and clients and sales, the lifetime value of their potential clients just isn't high enough to justify doing that work for. Good example. Brand new bakery. They might desperately need your services, but they're not going to be able to afford a $2,000 per month marketing bill if they're only just barely breaking even. Not to mention, think of all the muffins you got to sell to make like $2,000. And that's break even on your services. Like, it's a lot of muffins. So you want to look for a niche whose customer has a high lifetime value to the business, because then you're going to need less of them to get a positive ROI, return on investment. So again, selling muffins versus selling real estate, right? Like, we help someone sell a house, we make them thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. We help someone sell a muffin, we make them like $1.50. So we want to make sure that they're in affluent niches, that they've got a high enough ticket price. They don't all have to be $1,000 prices. We can do this for gyms, provided they have a good enough retention. So if they're charging $50 to $100 a month, but customers or members are staying for 6 months, 8 months, well, now we've got a lifetime value of $800 or $1,000, which gives us a little bit more room to play with. Rule number 5, the niche must be in demand and growing. So do the customers of the niche want what they're selling? Is the business or market growing? Is there demand for their services? The example here is the obvious one. You don't want to be doing marketing for a newspaper company, but the other one is you want to make sure that you're betting on a winner. So when a niche is out there, you want to look at who are the people that are buying that service. Are there lots of them? Is this a growing industry, or is it like a dying, fading trend? Like, we don't want to be selling fidget spinners. We want to be selling something that's new and evolving and also growing. So anything around like AI, well, that would be significantly better than, say, the newspaper or doing marketing for a radio company or anything like that. So again, we want to make sure that there's sufficient demand, because it's going to be impossible to generate leads for a business that nobody wants. All right, let's talk about the different kinds of niches and help you sort of like refine them down and build the right one for you. So we got to talk about pretty, dirty, crowded, and growing niches. So pretty niches, these are the ones that attract the most marketers to them. These are things like photography, videography, esports, travel, tourism, fashion, e-commerce right now, info products, basically other cool things that everybody likes. If you're that kind of, in that kind of niche, you're competing against all of these other people that are often just doing it as a point of status and a point of recognition, rather than actually going out there and trying to maximize the revenue that their agency is generating. It's a bit of a tough pill to swallow sometimes, but it's like the ugly, dirty niches are often the most profitable, and not a lot of people market to them, which is amazing because it just makes it significantly easier for you. So let's talk dirty niches. Pest control, funeral homes and crematoriums, junk removal, garbage collectors, roofing, plumbing, and HVAC, less so of the kind of dirty niches. I would say more of like the top ones, the garbage, junk, funeral homes, pest control. Like those niches, they're not heavily marketed to by other marketers because they're seen as, again, they're kind of just dirty niches, but a lot of money to be made here, a lot of money. So keep that in mind as you're going through them. Crowded niches, ones that I would just recommend you probably stay away from: e-commerce, dentists, cannabis, chiropractors, lawyers. They're super saturated. Basically, anybody that has taken any kind of SMMA course over the last 5 years has seen go after dentists or chiropractors or lawyers. The only exception is if you have significant interest or experience in one of these niches, then by all means go for it, because you're going to be able to leverage that. Like if you're a former dentist who is now starting a marketing agency, yeah, I'm going after dentists, obviously. All right, next up is growing niches. These are niches in fast-growing industries where the demand for your services is going to outpace the supply of marketers who are actually serving these niches. Now, these are changing all of the time. Use these, look at them for as what you will. My preference is sort of going after some of the dirty niches, some of the proven ones that I'll give you in just a second, but these are definitely worth paying attention to. So like ski and snowboard resorts, bars, nightclubs, full service restaurants, optometrists, subprime auto loans, solar power, tour operators, 3D printers, UAV and drone manufacturers. Again, all you really have to do is go to Google, type in growing industries, look at industry trends, look at the direction that things are going, and you're going to find these niches. And the beauty here is that they're constantly evolving. So again, when you're picking your niche, I want you to think about it from like an 18-month to 24-month thing. You'll probably be able to do it for 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, as long as you really want. But like, look at it at that minimum time. And then when you're sort of filtering some of these options through that, really look ahead and be like, all right, is the economic and political and technological and social climate, does it look like it's going to favor one of these niches? If so, worth taking a look at. All right, so 3 steps to choose a niche. Step 1, pick a niche that you're interested in. After all, your goal here is to go deep and try to develop a core level understanding of who they are and what they're looking for. And that means spending some time getting to know them, their businesses, and how you're going to be able to serve them best. Again, remember this. The 3 facts about the niche. Well, point number 2, the easiest niche is the one you've been working with for 18 to 24 months. So you do want to make sure that you actually like these people, you like the business, you think it's interesting, and you're able to sort of dive in there and really get your hands dirty over that amount of time, because your results are just going to be infinitely better by doing it that way. Next, step number 2, run your ideas through the 5 niche rules. Again, remember, you got to pick a single one, not 2. It's got to be specific. They must need what you're selling. They must be able to afford it, and the niche must be in demand and growing. So if it checks the first box of you're interested, it checks the second box of going through all of these, we're good. Now we can move on to step 3, which is explore, examine, and experiment to really make sure. We want to really test drive this niche before buying it. We want to date it before marrying it. We want to make sure that this is a good fit for us, because despite most niches being absolutely fine, you've got to be confident and you've got to be committed to it. So no wishy-washy, second guessing, thinking, this is a terrible niche, I should have done more due diligence. Now's your time. Now's the time. So explore, watch, listen, learn, talk to people in the niche, read blogs, find books, watch videos, listen to podcasts, all of those things. What does the niche do? Do you like them? Who do they serve? Do they believe in it enough? Do you believe in it enough to help them succeed? Again, you don't want to be selling something or helping someone sell something that you think is completely garbage or dangerous or disgusting. Hard to get results if you don't care about your clients or believe in what they do. So important to do this. Timeline. I put 1 to 3 days max because I don't want this taking long. Again, we should be able to pick a really solid niche in 3, 4, 5 days at the absolute most, and then start going all in on it. I do not want this process taking you weeks, months, years, which is what a lot of people do. And then they end up getting stuck with 1 or 2 clients for years on end. Unacceptable. Next, examine. Make a list of 10 to 20 possible clients and look at what they're currently doing. Then make a list of 3 to 5 competitors who are serving these clients with a similar offer to what you're thinking about. Could you, obviously with enough time and practice, create a different or more competitive offer? So let me unpack that a little bit. Essentially, if you're going after, let's say, landscapers, what you would want to do is you would then go to Google, you type in landscapers in this city, landscapers in that city, landscapers in that city, and you'd want to start to get a feel for how they're marketing. What are they doing? Are they running ads? Do they have SEO optimized websites? Are they creating content? Are they doing all of these other things? And you can start to get a feel for, there's some opportunities here, or it looks like this niche already has everything perfectly dialed in. Most don't, and so on. Next, you can start looking at competitors that serve that. So landscaping, marketing agencies for landscapers, marketing tips for landscapers. Start looking through all the websites, looking through the content. Find the services that other marketing agencies are offering to this niche. The intention here is that we're not going to copy them. We're not going to rip anything off or plagiarize anything that's unethical, not moral, and illegal. Rather, what we're trying to do is get a feel for what they're already doing and then start to try to read between the lines and see, all right, of the services that they're offering, could I do a better job of this? Could I do something slightly different? Maybe they missed this opportunity or whatever it is. So important to see not only the clients and potential people you're going to be working with, but also competitors in the space. And then time to experiment. So now you've got a better understanding about this niche reach. Now that you've got a better understanding of the niche, reach out and ask to speak with them for 10 to 15 minutes to learn more about them, their business, and what their biggest challenges are. Your goal is to help the first few for free in exchange for a testimonial and case study that you will then leverage into high-paying clients. You do not have to do this if you already have an established agency. You can just start reaching out to them, pitching them your services, and so on. But if you're unsure what this niche needs and wants, if you're unsure what services are going to be best for them, go in completely open and honest. Be like, here's the deal. I'm trying to do some research on this. I'm trying to help people in your business do this thing. Here's what I think would be good. Here's what I'm suggesting. Here's what I'm looking for in return. Feedback, openness, ideas, strategies, because what you're going to find is that every single niche is going to have a slightly different beneficial service for them. Some niches benefit really well from like Google Map Pack optimization. Some businesses do incredibly well with Facebook ads. Others do really good with Google ads. Some with just organic SEO. So you want to find the strategies because that also helps you not have to offer absolutely everything under the sun. Rather, you can focus on where you're going to be able to get the best results for that niche. Period. All right. Preferred local niches. As promised. Oh, I'm going to have to click through all of these. We'll load them up all on the screen here as well. And then I've got a list down below where you'll be able to download a copy and a few more as well. All of these are absolutely 7-figure, multi-7-figure niches. All of them. Attorneys, auto dealers, CrossFit, day spa, dentists, gyms, hair salons, home services, martial arts, solar, restaurants, etc., etc. There's some that are better than others. For example, we've already talked about how dentists are pretty crowded and chiropractors as well. A lot of marketing agencies have sort of saturated that space. Also, restaurants, they're a bit tricky because they typically sell lower ticket items. That said, all of these are 7-figure, multi-7-figure niche options. So if you find one like this that you really like, by all means, go for it. So here's what you got to do to really then take all of that research, take it to the next level. You've got to go through who's your niche. You've got to figure that out. Next, where do they spend their time? Online and offline. So look at Facebook groups, look at different groups, organizations, clubs, conferences, and seminars. Start to look at what blogs or books or videos they might consume. Who are the leaders, the influencers, and the celebrities in that niche's space? Also, do they have a title? Man, I hope they have a title. Your life is just so much better if they have a title that they use, like dentist, like contractor, like roofer, like gym owner. It's a lot easier to target them using basically all of the targeting options that we have available when they have a designated title versus some kind of aspirational characteristic, like person who wants to start a business. That's not a very easy title to go find. Person who's thinking of starting a side hustle over here. Not an easy title. Dentist, easy title. Has anyone else already built an audience of these people? You will find that is 100% the case. Again, this is why we're going to look at Facebook groups and organizations. They probably already gather in certain areas. We don't want to just go in there and start spamming people everywhere, but we can go in and start to make some connections and have some conversations and start to learn how the group operates. So again, groups, organizations, clubs, etc., etc. What are your competitors doing? So look at their services and the things that they're offering. Look at their website and look at the claims that their marketing is making. For example, you don't want to get into a niche where all of your competitors are like, we'll do your marketing for free for 10 years, because that's not a good offer and you don't want to have to compete with that one. What do their ads say? Also, easy way to look at what your competitors are doing with their Facebook ads is all you've got to do is go to the Facebook page of one of your competitors, go about, then page transparency, click ads from this page, then go to ad library, and it'll show you if they're running ads, if they're not running ads. If they are, you'll be able to look at all of them. All right, so that was a whole lot of stuff on niches, but hopefully at this point, you're clear on exactly who you should be going after. You're going to have the steps required to go through and pick the absolute best one for you. Of course, if you have questions, thoughts, ideas, leave them in the comments below. I'm sure other helpful viewers will be happy to chime in. Also, I'll make sure to link up that 7-figure niche list below, and I'll also link up a video right here for you to check out. Hopefully you find that one relatively helpful and valuable, and see you in there in just a second.